And the second part that I wanted to mention to the board tonight is the information that we have received during the Christmas holidays around the changes in the quarantine and isolation protocols, especially for the schools, and how masking and vaccinations are playing a critical role in the way that we're addressing quarantine and isolation. Also, in the new toolkit, it is very much highlighted the information that we've received from the American Academy of Pediatrics around their recommendations for all students 2 years older and staff and teachers in school should wear a face mask, and that the recommendations around universal masking in schools. So that information is included in the toolkit, the North Carolina DHHS toolkit for school districts. And just to mention two of these areas that we're focusing on right now that are really surrounding vaccines and mask wearing. Students can return to school after 5 days if masks are worn during days 6 to 10 after a positive case. So if somebody is testing positive, they can return to school after 5 days of isolation if they're wearing the mask during those last 5 days. And then when it comes to exposures and somebody is exposed to somebody with COVID, masks also play a very important, critical role actually in being able to keep the students in school. So in districts where masks are required, there is no exclusion from school if there is an exposure in those classrooms. And also in school districts where masks are required, if there is an exposure briefly where one or two of those individuals is unmasked, such as during lunchtime, for example, but the district has a mandatory mask mandate, again, those students will not be excluded. We're also talking about individuals that are up to date on their immunizations. Those are not going to be excluded, and also individuals that have tested positive for COVID in the last 90 days, they've recovered, and now they're coming back into the schools. No exclusion is needed in that circumstance as well. So I just wanted to update you on the new guidance and recommendations that we're implementing right now for isolation and quarantine in the case of exposures or positive cases, and how masks are playing a critical role of keeping those students in the school. And that is my update for the board tonight.
Thank you. Anita?
I don't know who can address this question, but we have students, special needs students, who cannot be vaccinated per their doctors and cannot wear masks. If someone in their classroom gets COVID and they're exposed, they're out of school for 10 days.
That is correct. This particular recommendation does not apply in those circumstances where masks cannot be used.
What can we do for these kids? They can't mask, they can't get vaccinated, so they're paying double the price of kids who can do those things, and they can't help it. And they are special needs students. Their need to be in school is as great as any I know. So what do we do?
Yeah, and that particular circumstance I know is really difficult, but all of the mitigation strategies that we would normally put in place in order to overlay them for protection of the others cannot be put in place, so we have to go with the standard recommendations.
We have to, or we are?
We are.
Thank you.